Welcome back, Sebastian here. So last week we got the last of our 2024 F1 team car launches. So now we've kind of had a chance to look at all 10 teams' new liveries for this season. So I thought today, why not do a video ranking the 10 liveries just in terms of aesthetics. So obviously this isn't any kind of constructors championship ranking. This is just basically in terms of how I like and how I rank each of the 10 liveries. And of course, with these kinds of things, it can be very, very subjective. So one person may have a list that's very, very different, and you yourself, the viewer, may have a very different one as well. So without further ado, I'll start right away. So number 10, Sauber. So for Sauber, kind of unusual that a team will create a completely new livery, brand new color scheme, and people won't like it. And I do think there are some people who like it, but for me, it's not particularly good livery. The one thing that I think holds it back is how much black there is on the livery. And if there was only one or two teams that I think had predominantly had black as one of the more secondary colors, I think it wouldn't be too big of a problem. But the fact that there's so many cars this year that have predominantly black liveries, I think kind of definitely makes the value of all of them kind of collectively worse, I feel. And the general design of the car itself, with the neon green, I feel like just with the two tones and just the way it is, it feels like a livery that you would find in an F1 game, not on an actual F1 car. So I think for those reasons I have it number 10. Now number 9, I've gone with Alpine. So it seems like with Alpine, every single year there's less and less color on the car. This year it's basically a black livery with blue, and they also have their BWT basically pink version, where it's basically black with blue and sometimes pink highlights. I think similar to Sauber and with a couple of other teams, if it was the only one with a predominantly black base, I think it would have been ranked higher. But just kind of the way it is, with having that much black and then having just so little color on the rest of the livery, I don't know, not really for me. I think the design itself and I think the colors itself match a bit better, which is why I have it ahead of the Kick Sauber livery. Now for number 8, I'm with McLaren. So for McLaren, I think their livery is actually an improvement on last year, which is kind of a testament to how horrible last year's was, I feel. This year is a bit of an improvement, but not much better. So the major change this year is that they basically have removed the light blue as a secondary color, and it's basically primarily orange and black. It's kind of similar to the 2017 McLaren, but I think the real thing that really kind of ruins the livery for me is the chrome wheel caps. And if you've seen it, basically Chrome, the browser, is one of the main sponsors for McLaren. So the wheel caps basically look like the Chrome logo. So you basically have 4 other colors that you're adding, none of which are orange, and it all kind of just meshes pretty terribly still, in my opinion. I think if they didn't have the wheel covers, I think honestly it would be a pretty solid livery, and I think it would be a couple spots higher. But because of that, I think just the way the colors are balanced, it's not great. Alright, number 7, I have Mercedes. So for Mercedes, I think it's an interesting livery, but still I think it's not. I think it could still be improved. I feel like with the Mercedes, their best livery in recent years was 2019, which, if those of you who may remember, was the year before they introduced Ineos as basically one of the big sponsors that goes right over the driver's head on basically where the air intake is, basically at the top of the car. And I really feel adding that second color, the Ineos, that's basically been there since 2020, kind of has definitely made I wouldn't say ruined it, but I think it's definitely made it worse, because kind of similar to the McLaren, you're adding too many colors to the livery, I feel. The way that they've also added this black kind of ring kind of behind the halo, where it's instead of where below this ring, it's kind of a gradient transition from kind of silver to black towards the end of the car, which I think is cool and is an interesting concept. But then they have this solid black across, which I think has just more sponsors on it. So yeah, kind of a bit weird. And like the first front half of the car, I think looks quite nice, but the second rear half of the car, I think doesn't look too good. I think overall it's kind of a hodgepodge of different things that are just kind of put together. So, overall not one of my favorite liveries this year. Alright, number 6, we have Haas. So for Haas, I think a pretty solid livery. Small changes compared to last year's. When you look at it from the front of the car, instead of having white kind of on the front wing and on the front going up towards the driver, they've changed it to black. Again, another car where it's a change towards more black. I think overall, though, it's not a terrible livery. It's pretty solid overall. And I think, it's at least sticking with kind of the core colors that Haas has had for the last several years. So I'm not too down on it the way I am with some of these other teams where it feels like they're adding more and more black to their car. Alright, number 5, I'm going to go with Racing Bulls. Or RBV car, whatever we're supposed to call it this year. I'm just going to call them Racing Bulls because that's the trend I'm going to do. So for Racing Bulls, I think livery very similar to the Toro Rosso from 2017 to about 2018, 2019. Royal blue, red, white, some silver in there as well. I think pretty nice livery. They have some slashes of white with like red trim on it, where it kind of looks from the side of the car, it makes it look like kind of the inverse of the Union Jack flag, where the red and the white are inversed. But I think other than that, it's a pretty solid livery, nice, lot of color there. And yeah, so interesting livery. I would say not one of my favorites, but still at least solid. I think probably an upgrade from their last AlphaTauri livery, given that the red for the Orland matches a lot better with the current livery than it did before, where it was basically just at the top of the halo. Alright, number 4, I have Red Bull. It's basically been almost unchanged since 2016. Yeah, 2016, I believe. But that being said, it's still a really solid livery. The navy blue, which is really, really close to a black, I think fits really well with the yellow and the red of the primary Red Bull logo. I know people complain about being boring and how it hasn't changed like in almost 10 years now. But still, I think it's a really solid livery, and if I ever start doing this basically annually, unless something changes dramatically, it's always going to be at least a decent livery, I feel. Alright, number 3, I've gone with Williams. So I really quite like the Williams livery. The dark blue as well as kind of the light blues that they have as well towards the back of the engine panel. I feel like even while it's still a simple livery, the thing that distinguishes it from the Sauber livery is that whereas the lines and the kind of the changes between different colors on the Sauber livery feel very random and feel very much like an F1 game. With the Williams, it doesn't really feel like that. It feels like there's kind of a bit more care that's been put into it. The Duracell battery logo as well on the kind of the roll hoop on the engine also fits really well, and I think the copper complements the blue very well, given that there's pretty much only one solid base color, which is the Williams blue. Unlike the Mercedes, where you have the silver, you have the black, you have the teal as well for Petronas. So you have too many colors going on with the Mercedes, but with the Williams, I think it works a bit better. Now, for number 2, Aston Martin, very similar to the livery they've had the last couple of years. I think it's a massive step up after they basically changed the BW to the pink trim from 2021, their first year, to the lime green that Aston has traditionally had, and ever since it's been an excellent livery, I feel. Some small changes here and there. I think a little bit more black this year, but I think the black complements the existing colors pretty well, I feel. And overall, again, a very, very strong livery for Aston Martin. So of course, number 1 is Ferrari. I think a really strong livery for Ferrari. The way that they've implemented the yellow and the red, or the yellow and the white, I think makes it look quite nice. A bit different from what they've had the last couple of years. I'm not such a big fan of the driver's suits, but just the car by itself, I think looks really, really nice. And I think the way they've put the lines along the car, I think looks really nice as well. So there's my ranking of the top 10. I kind of have Ferrari at the first, and then we have Kick Sauber at the bottom. So please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What's your favorite livery from the 2024? And also, which one do you think kind of made the biggest step backwards? Which one do you think got worse compared to 2023? Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'll be doing lots more content as the season ramps up with testing this week. and then first race of the season, Bahrain Grand Prix next weekend. Goodbye.